I want to get another round in first. Hey, do you guys? Do you want to drive to another London suburb back before we start recording?
Okay. It was an easy mistake to make. So we promised you that we'd be recording in a pub. We did.
We fully intended to be.
Yeah, that was very much the plan. But then we went and we watched Harry Baker's live show. Some of us did. One of us was waiting. For the people who were at Harry Baker's show, how was it?
Yeah, it's good.
Nice to be hanging out with friends.
Yeah, we like Harry.
We like Harry.
Had good vegan fish and chips.
Yeah.
Not while we watched the show, but...
Yeah, it was good times. But it was in Maidenhead, and we then ended up, being a little bit late for a person who was waiting for us, who we will introduce to you in a few seconds. Because welcome to Beer Christianity, episode 50. Yes! Nice!
Yeah.
Coming to you from not so much a pub as Jonty's house. My name is Jonty.
I'm Laura.
I'm Malky.
And we are joined by special guest...
I'm Jabs!
Hey! So beautiful.
Sing the song!
I will
In the arms of the angels.
So I've loved that so much.
It has been fun to do. Drabs, one of the original hosts of this show, joins us for the special 50th episode, and also connecting to the first episode that we ever recorded an interview for. And actually the first episode that I produced and then found out from some how-to podcast thing that you had to do an introductory one with some kind of bigger name even than Harry and Chris. We have Harry and Chris on episode 2, but they are really the first guests we had properly for Beer Christianity. So they are coming up right now. You've all listened to it. What do you think people should listen out for that they'll enjoy?
The C.S. Lewis puns, just superb, particularly the one about mere Christianity.
Excellent.
I think there's a lot of nudity for a podcast.
There legitimately was quite a lot of it. more than I was expecting, but not more than I wanted. So that's nothing.
I mean, I also was going to say the nudity, but, there were a lot of laughs. That's mostly what I can remember from it. It sticks in your mind. But shooting frogs, I believe, is mentioned.
Oh, harsh to bring that up. That's really harsh. Anyway, here's Harry and Chris, an interview that they recorded very kindly with us before their gig this week. And yeah, enjoy.
This meeting being recorded.
Damn right it is.
By continuing to be in this meeting, you're consenting. I've learned not to consent to anything.
Also, consent just by, well, you're still here. That seems not very 2021, if I'm honest.
I haven't pressed continue yet, though.
Oh, that's true.
Fine. You can have our souls through the medium of audio.
Consent. I love it. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Jonty.
We just opened the window, so we got a little bit of breeze.
That's beautiful.
I don't know if that would translate to the audio, but we just wanted it to be known.
It
Jonty,
feels breezy.
How did you choose how to do that microphone placement?
It was right there, and I was like, oh crap, I need to pull it down. I also, wait, do you want to know what makes Laura give me a lot of shit? Is that I have a pop shield. You guys are professional performers, and I have a microphone and pop shield in shot.
You're a professional man.
Yeah.
We could make it look more professional.
No, don't. Yeah, there it is.
We've actually got a microphone here, and the pop shield is so far behind it.
That's how trained we are.
Just in case the wall tries to pop.
It is. It's some kind of baffle for the echoes. How were the chaplains?
No idea. Couldn't see or hear
any of them.
We were performing to ourselves and hoped that they could hear. More of a webinar setup than a kind of friendly audience.
How is that? Because you guys have done a lot of those sorts of things. Is that unnerving to do gigs where you can't see or hear the audience?
It's a constant reminder that we are each other's audience.
Yeah, it's very nice to have each other. As is often the case.
It was, yeah, we had 8 minutes to go, and we thought, do we do one song or two? And we just really stretched out 100%. And then at 4 on the dot, we left. So it's a good time. Is this being recorded? It was just a pre-chat. It's just how you get us.
This is how I get you, and then I sell
it was
this
very
to
lovely, and we loved it
the
all.
gutter press.
And love the chaplains
We love
and
all
the
the chaplains.
schools and the children and the Lord. So
That's all true.
yeah,
That's what's crazy.
everything-
The way he's saying it sounds like it's not true.
Yeah.
But all of that is true.
Yeah.
I have never tortured an animal. You know, like it's just as soon as you say it, it just feels weird. Like, don't do it.
I used to
counts
throw
as-
ants into Venus flytraps.
Wow.
I once
So it
stamped
wasn't getting enough food.
on a butterfly.
I once shot a frog with a rifle.
Wow.
I thought it would fly out of the way, and it didn't. And that's the worst I've ever felt.
Why did you think it would fly out the way?
Because, like, I
Flies
tried to
do.
catch it with my hand, and it was like, all over. And I was like,
If you're not
okay,
going to let me have you, then see you later.
I was young, but it stayed with me.
Yeah, I still feel bad about shooting that frog, not gonna lie. It's really bad.
You don't look like you feel bad at all.
You've got a big smile on your face. I've never seen you
Mine
smile.
was
This is what I look like when I feel really bad.
Jonty, have you lined up the stuff on top of your shelf behind you so it's in perfect ascending order of height?
I have. It's so that it has leading lines to my face. It's really important.
Yeah.
To the pop shield when it's down.
You know, all roads lead to Rome and all geometrical lines lead to Jonty's face.
That is, in fact, the truth. Guys, thank you so much for being willing to talk to me. And I wanted to... Oh, wow, you just immediately froze as soon as I started doing my more formal podcasty bullshit.
Well, no, we really wanted to take it in.
No, we're really listening very hard.
You guys are on the first episode of Beer Christianity. I'm pretty sure I didn't tell you that you were going to be on the first episode of Beer Christianity when I interviewed you.
You told us it was a famous podcast.
You told us it was Desert Island Disc.
This is going to make you.
Yeah, and look where you are now.
We're not done badly, but so maybe we owe you a lot of money.
I think that's what it is. I really should be your manager, actually. Let
us just be the first to say, probably the first to say, congratulations on Beer Christianity. You know, it's gone from strength to strength. You can't walk through London without seeing a billboard.
Strength number 1, Harry and Chris. Strength number 2, Harry and Chris.
And interestingly, I don't think Harry knows what the pun is.
Seriously?
I thought we'd workshop it now. What do you think Beer Christianity might be a pun for?
Well, I thought it sounds like be a Christian. Be a Christian, likely. And then I thought, what rhymes with beer? Is it like bear Christianity, like in Canada, or like queer Christianity?
I have an episode called Queer Christianity.
Hey,
there we go. No,
well, he's an avid listener. So.
Yeah, obviously.
So I thought that episode was going back to its roots.
So Beer Christianity.
Beer Christianity.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite authors is
C.S. Lewis.
There we go.
I read that book.
And one of my favorite authors is
J.R. Tolkien.
Is it?
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Okay, so Mere Christianity.
Beer Christianity. Also, how did you not get this? I thought you were like from a family of like, you know, church royalty. Isn't that a thing? I feel like
a thing. It's such a thing. In fact, I forgot about this until we were doing the sound check for the chaplains. And we were just waiting to perform, and we were just kind of looking into middle distance. And what did she say? Oh no, she said you look a bit nervous. I'll be surprised, Harry, if you were nervous with your parents. Which I loved that.
Yeah. We don't read books, we just write them. So, no time. Taking other people's words.
That's actually how I feel about podcasts and anyone else's opinion. So that seems very good. Guys, you are back touring and doing shows and stuff like that. You have already together. This is preparation. This is the kind of professional service. This is why Beer Christianity is so huge right now.
Yeah. It's this kind of research.
It's a real deep background research.
You're touring. Have you done tours? Have you done any gigs? What's going on?
Just like, you guys ever, music and stuff.
Question format. Here's the statement. Is this true?
We did a couple of gigs between lockdowns.
Yes.
And now we've got we did a gig in Bristol last week. We did a gig. We're doing a gig in London, a couple of gigs in London in September. It's not a tour per se, but it is multiple dates in different locations. So who's to say it's not a tour?
How is that not a tour?
Yeah. Well, if you stop emailing us asking to be our tour manager, then maybe we'll take you on.
I'm never going to stop emailing you to ask if I can be your tour manager. Has it been nice to get back? I mean, I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask it like journalists do. Like, has it been nice to be back in front of audiences?
After 3. 1, 2, 3. No.
Good. Audiences suck.
Call you.
Gotcha.
Got you on the road. Should have done your research. We love Zoom gigs.
Yay, getting feedback from people telling us they like us. Gross. My favourite part about the gig we did last week was hearing people sing along and then being informed by my friends that you're not allowed to sing yet in sort of churches. So maybe we broke the law, but maybe we don't care about the law.
You guys are like the original rebel super spreaders. I love that. That's really great.
So that never happened. That was a fictional example for the listeners.
Yeah, imagine if that had happened.
No, it's really
Can you
lovely.
imagine if somebody listening to this shops you and you get arrested based on their Christianity? We would need more
It would
listeners.
help the publicity of the show.
Yeah,
That's
also
true.
a lot of laughter from you at the concert of us being arrested.
I'm also I'm thinking of, as your future manager, selling you as the bad boys of Christian rap, poetry, comedy, jazz.
We're already seen as the Christian boys of the comedy scene. So
Yeah, the good boys of comedy, the bad boys of Christian rap, and the medium boys of
this
telling the future.
beer Christianity.
Well, as Governor B says, I'm too grimy for church, and I'm too churchy for grime. We are too...
Did you say grimy?
Maybe too grime.
I think it's just grime. Grimy makes it like a little mucky pup.
It's too grimy.
What would our version be?
To beer for Christianity, to Christianity for beer.
Okay, I asked, do you know MC Lars? You ever listen to MC Lars?
Do we ever stop listening?
Well, I asked.
Yeah.
He did.
Lars Larson.
He did that knock knock Mr. Raven thing. You should look up MC Lars, Mr. Raven anyway, it's fun. And I asked him to be on Beer Christianity, and he's not a Christian, and he was like, no, because you've got beer in the title and I'm straight edge. I was like, I'm being turned down for not being, pure and Christian enough by non-Christians. That's a tough gig.
MC Lars is an American rapper, producer, teacher, cartoonist, and podcaster. That's quite an array of titles.
Look, that's rich coming from you guys, I'm just going to say.
Okay. Look, we've all got many titles.
Figure like this. Lars is one of the self-proclaimed originators of lit hop.
It's very good. He's very, very good.
He's very, very good.
Does lit stand for literature?
Yes.
So he raps about words.
He does. He raps about literature, and he did an album about the Bible, which is why I wanted him on the show. And he was so nice, but he was like, nope, I'm not doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, chances are he's not going to listen either. So here's our chance to get our own back. MC Lars, you're rubbish.
They're beefing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Going to be one of those famous, it's like Pulp and Blur. No, that wasn't a thing. Blur
and Oasis.
Blur and Oasis.
Of Britpop as opposed to lit hop.
Hey, that is excellent.
We are doing Chip Shop. So, we've all got it.
Your Chip Shop tour, what it's not a tour, it's just the shows that you're doing now. In what way are they different and from your previous one? This sounds like an accusation and a demand. Like, what new are you bringing to the table? No, like, what can people expect?
What What new are you bringing to this podcast? Since the first time we
I'm
did
being
it?
honest about where I'm going to put it. That's a start. We're back to consent.
You should
No.
always be honest about that.
I would say that one of the key things we're bringing to, especially our sort of London show in September, is 18 months of kind of pent up energy, excitement, and bromance.
Gromont, as they say in
So,
France.
you know, a chance to reflect, to recollect, and to genuflect. And, you know, it's shit. We won't.
That should be the Keswick conventional tagline.
But we, you know, we were doing these Edinburgh shows every year, smashing it out. Song about the World Cup, song about Teletubbies. Whoa, so many songs. And now we just get to pick and choose the best bits that everyone loves, that we love, that you love. What's not to love?
I genuinely am super, super excited about seeing the gigs, to be honest.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, for reals. Are you guys going to come anywhere near Oxford anytime soon? I mean, I know, Harry, you're going to be in Maidenhead really soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
Want me to come?
Why aren't you there, Chris?
I come to Maidenhead. You want me there?
Yeah.
Harry
Good.
wants me there. You want me there?
Yeah.
I'll be
I mean,
there.
I think I actually probably will be there.
There's a very nice usher called Bernadette.
Oh, yes? Well, I like Bernadette. Are you causing me to stumble? You know, I don't need help in this area. It's already complicated enough. What are you doing? Come on, Chris. What's wrong with you? Get behind me, Satan.
The Motown song. Bernadette. And the name of the song is Bernadette. And then I was listening to that on the day that I met her, lovely lady, and she said, my name's Bernadette. And I was like, I'm going to remember that one. I always feel bad because I never remember ushers' names at all the venues we go to.
Do you just call them Usher, and does that remind you of another song?
Yeah, and I feel like one day I'll get lucky and that will be their name.
Yeah, that's good. Anyway. Okay, well, I feel like I've kept you quite long, and I haven't asked you anything in even vaguely reasonable.
Quick fire.
Wait, has the interview started?
Hit us with the big questions.
I thought it was the pre-chat.
Well, I don't know how much time you've got. It could be the pre-chat, but listen.
We got 50 minutes less than when we started.
What is the purpose?
I said that with a very playful smile on my face.
He actually had a cruel glint in his eye, listeners. That's what he looked like. What is the purpose of the Christian life? Not so cheerful now.
Oh, sorry. What? Is there a connection? The purpose of the Christian life.
Yeah, man. I asked Stanley Howe this because I interviewed him for a thing I was doing for a magazine.
Oh, sorry. I think you just dropped a name there.
I did. Sorry, let me pick it up. My buddy Stanley. I said, "What's the purpose?" And he was like, "You need to worship the Lord and worship Him in truth and honesty or something, because that way you will develop an ability to detect bullshit." He's
the best.
He is the best. He's so cool.
Our high school motto, which I think they came up with, was, "I have come that you may have life and have it in all its fullness." And so to quote
Did they come up with that?
Twyford C of E High School, I think that there's some overlap between that and Christianity and the Christian life.
I guess Christianity could co-opt something like that in a slightly syncretistic way. Yeah, that's true. That could.
I just think it would add some gravitas if it came from more than a sort of, high school in West London.
I guess.
If you could attach a name to it, someone like Stanley Hauerwas, or beer and Christianity.
Beer Christianity, not beer and Christianity. Come on, man.
Isn't the book called Beer and Christianity?
It's called Das Meer and Christianity. It's good.
But what? That's not even... Is that in his top 10 books?
It's up there.
Yes, it's his most popular book after the children's ones.
The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
No, that is for children. What is wrong with you?
7 Narnias.
Yeah, so why not call it...
There are 7 Narnias.
Okay,
Who has time to read
going to present
Narnias?
you with a beer pun for all 7 of the Narnia books.
In order.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Magician's Nephew.
So, the...
Ray and Nephew.
Magicians, Ray and Nephews, Overproof Rum.
The Horse and His Boy.
I thought it was Narnia.
No.
Okay.
The whole thing's Narnia. The horse and his boy.
The
That sounds
horse
like a
and
pun.
his boy. I'm drunk off all this
There
beer.
we go.
Lying on the floor with the beer and the witch and the wardrobe.
Prince
Nice.
Caspian.
Prince Cask Ale.
Caspian. That's lovely. Then Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Yeah, Voyage of the. Drawing the beer. Voyage of the Beer Treader. Hang on, let's start again. The Magician's Beer Feud, The Lion, the Witch, and the Beer. Prince Beerspion. Voyage of the Beer Treader.
The Silver Chair.
The Silver Beer.
Silver beer actually works, to be fair.
The Last Battle.
The Last Beer at all.
Hey! That's the best
It's
one.
Yeah.
astonishing. And you guys didn't prepare that before now. That was just
End
off
of
the
Ohio.
cuff. Wow.
Yeah.
That is
But in answer to
The screw top letters.
that's lovely.
okay.
That's
That's
amazing.
actually brilliant.
Thank you very much. That wasn't even in the 7.
I feel like Chris was about to bring us back to the righteous and the serious.
Yeah, I regretted it immediately. What was I about to say?
The purpose of the
Oh
Christian.
yeah, purpose of the Christian life. I remember you saying there's a certain kind of zing that's just pure Holy Spirit. I remember writing that down. I was like, that's if you can live in that as much as possible, then stuff just starts happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's purpose of Christian life because that's little kingdom movements to bring
Bring the zing.
the zing and the kingdom into the world.
I like that very much. I think that is a beautiful thing.
We like you very much.
Oh, I like you guys very much. I want to see you guys perform live again. That's my main thing.
Glad you finished that sentence.
Okay. The shows that are coming up, where are you going to be performing and when, and where can people hear more about what you're going to be doing?
Well, depending on
is this going out?
we're playing tonight.
Yeah, it's not tonight. It's
I'm
not,
making your editing skills.
like I get a lot of crap about this actually from my co-host, and it usually takes me a week or two to edit something. So
Okay, well, if it's a week, then we're also playing tonight. So we're playing next week.
Okay.
Our gigs are at harryandchris.com.
Yeah,
So, and
that is a
will
much better
remain
way to
true,
find out.
No matter how long it takes you to edit this.
yeah.
So we've got a big old show in London,
September.
which is a good time. I'm going on
Harry's
solo
on tour. Harry's on solo
I've been
tour.
on tour for over a year now. It's that successful. But a large part of that tour has been sat at home. So there'll be some more dates for that. But just, internet, heard of it, get involved. John C will be there at every gig. He promised.
harryandchris.com.
harryandchris.com.
We'll be back joyriding at some point as well.
I just love the idea of every artist getting interviewed like by somebody from a magazine or something like that when they say, so, what can people, expect from the show and where are you guys going to be or whatever? And you just like saying like, just tell them to Google it, this isn't my problem. I shouldn't have to do this work for your readers.
Well,
I feel like if people want to go,
if we're being honest, the people who listen to beer and or Christianity, they're going to do it whilst they're out about, whilst they're canoeing, whilst they're doing a bit of amateur welding, and they're not going to necessarily have a pen or anything to be able to make note of it. And
But they
so
will
when
remember.
But they'll remember. Oh yeah, the internet.
Harry and Chris. Harry and
And
Chris.
then they'll go home and they'll kind of do it.
Sounds excellent.
I don't use websites anymore. The only way I get to things is through Google. That is a website, to be fair. But if we said our gig is in London, then you Google Harry and Chris London gig anyway.
This is true.
Other search engines are
I
available.
was about to say, yeah.
DuckDuckGo,
Yeah.
Cozier. Ask Jeeves, probably.
There are cozier
Yahoo.
stuff.
Yeah. They plant trees.
That is
Everything is
pretty
search.
cozy.
Do you remember when Yahoo was the search engine and like everyone thought it was the kind of new kid on the block and it was really exciting?
No, we're
We've
actually very young.
You're quite a lot younger than I am, obviously. That's not even a thing.
Harry, we've reached the point where John starts talking about Yahoo. Sorry, we're losing connection.
This is brutal. Okay, this is going to go out on the 50th episode of Beer Christianity. As you guys are such avid listeners, what have been your favorite parts of the last 49 episodes?
My favorite episode was Queer Christianity. What about you, Chris?
My favorite episode is episode 1.
What did we feature on that?
Actually, Harry and Chris was on episode 2, as
Yes!
listeners will know.
Yeah, you said we were the first, and then we had to listen to that whole truck of shite. We weren't even on it.
No, Chomsky, that whole truck of shite.
I was fired because I laughed so loud so much. So then we got down to 2 and we skipped forward to try and find ourselves. And at the moment we skipped forward, you said, you're listening to Beer Christianity. Then you're like, oh, I don't know why I just did that. No one's going to have dropped in at this point. I was like,
How did they know?
Literally what I just did.
Good.
But
Well,
that was only to sort of prep for this. That was obviously we've listened to all the episodes.
obviously.
Yeah, by the time anyone listens to this, we've caught up.
Yeah, I liked the Stanley Halverse episode.
Don't think we've had one.
What? You said you asked him.
I did, but I haven't put him on the podcast.
Yeah.
You guys go first.
That was the BMS gig.
Yeah.
I actually had to choose between putting Stanley Halverse as our 50th because go with a big theologian, or you guys because you guys are just more interesting, I think, for the 50th. It's cooler.
An hour.
I disagree.
I would agree with Harry's disagreement.
I hope you don't regret it too much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We're gonna have him. Yeah, that's all good.
At least he got a bit of his wisdom through you giving us his answer to the question you asked us.
Exactly. Wow. Chris has just flashed a very, very hairy torso.
That's not true.
Was it mine or Harry's?
That is
You never know.
I'm here to
Thanks,
absolutely
Harry.
nip that in the bud. You can't just say things like
You
that.
can't just say things like that.
No
man.
way.
It's just, I'm surprised.
Jonty, stop it.
You have a
Jonty just
huge
held
number
up.
of nipples. That's
Jonty just
so
ripped
many.
the Bible in half. Jonty's
Literally mooning me.
tore it in half. So, Jonty just shot a frog. Stop it.
He's got a collection of frogs and guns.
So bad. It's weird how silent it is as well.
Yeah.
You can't hear a thing, but the
He keeps
visuals
muting.
are
He keeps muting himself.
completely horrific.
It's mute, bang, mute, bang, unmute.
That's really beautiful. Thank you. Thanks so much. Guys, thank you very much for being on Beer Christianity once again.
Always a pleasure.
And
this is actually how Mere Christianity ends too. So it's a really nice.
It's actually beautiful because of that frog shooting scene in Mere Christianity, and yeah.
What's your favourite part of Mere Christianity, Harry?
I like it when the meerkats become Christians. You don't see it coming.
It's really out of left field. It's good. Yes. Okay. Guys, thank you so much. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
Gobbledygook, crumpet,
Pianoforte,
frenulum.
Plem.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Oh well, we love you.
Love you too, guys. Bye.
Bye.
The magician's homebrew, the lager the witch wood in the wardrobe, the curs in his boy, the beverage of the dawn treader, drinks Caspian, the cider chair, the last bottle.
I mean, I know we said we weren't going to comment, but chorus? Chorus?
Another callback to
Exactly.
that first episode.
The people who stuck with us,
Yeah, they'll know.
both of them will really enjoy.
My dad will really love that.
That's true. Graham Durrant,
We love you.
we love you. Thank you for listening. And blessings upon your house. I don't know how to
Thanks for the Viennetta.
Thanks for the Viennetta. Yes. Yes. Since our first episode, there's things that have happened. I mean, we've had obviously the pandemic and stuff like that, but significant things that have happened in Beer Christianity. We've had, I mean, I think the most significant is that I've actually met your parents, Laura.
Yeah, that's the big thing, in our relationship.
That's pretty huge. And they fed me Viennetta.
They did. Not like
They did. With spoons. It was hot. Also, those kind of jokes better because I know your parents are going to be listening. It makes it so much cooler.
No. I'm so sorry. Dad, apologies. Great.
Yeah, well, I think the fun thing about this episode is all those listeners who are writing in saying, when is Drabs going to drop the Scottish accent? Get to hear both of us. And that we are two separate people.
Amazing.
Although it's not always apparent.
Not always.
Just an uncomfortable fucking silence from... He wasn't even putting it on. He suddenly... I saw the recognition on your face. I'm like, oh crap, I've done it again.
But for the original listeners of Beer Christianity, they may remember that actually Malky was on the first ever episode of Beer Christianity, and it was Drabs that subbed in for Malky. Because Malky was on the 2010 pilot.
That is so true.
And he was great. I remember enjoying it. I still remember some of your quotes.
Wow.
Like,
I don't.
Yeah, I do not.
He made a joke where he compared some thrash metal band to Richard Raw because of the Raw. It was so funny. I remember.
Good.
I always forget how much you liked the first episode of Beer Christianity when we had... I don't know if any of our current listeners ever heard that version. I can't remember where I was hosting it, but we played music completely illegally.
It was in that place in Reading.
Yeah, at the Global Cafe at the Reading International Solidarity Centre.
Yeah.
Can I just comment, since I left, obviously the quality of comedy and theological discourse has improved a great deal, and I'm grateful for that. I will point out the quality of beer has deteriorated a little bit for a podcast called Beer Christianity. When I say deteriorated, I will remind you that our starting point was Cause.
Course? Yes, that's true.
Deteriorated is quite a statement. I'm quite achievement, actually.
It's quite impressive that we've gone downhill from Coors and I think Carling's at Broadway's.
Oh, we didn't go there, did we?
We did, you know.
I mean, Carling rather than Broadway's.
We obviously went to Broadway's. Also, we would have been in Broadway's tonight, except it is a Friday, so at this point, because it is after midnight, it is a disco for
Well,
real.
is it?
Club night.
It's pandemic.
As soon as we finish recording.
We could go.
Surely it's
The hub
not.
is open.
Let's wrap this shit up.
We're getting back to Broadway's, to the mothership.
Right, listen, in case any of the listeners and hosts don't remember any of the content, I'm going to fire through them.
Okay.
Right. 1, Chomsky.
Which Harry and Chris famously called a load of shite.
And then comedy jazz rap with Harry and Chris.
Are you going to read out all 49 episodes?
Well, I'm just hitting the highlights, you know. Greystone, environmental with your rhino, not your rhino poacher, I was going to call him.
He's not a poacher.
The opposite of a rhino poacher.
Pick it, man, pick it.
Oh, he was great. I loved
Chapadzeka, the coolest guy.
Very cool.
That was mental, that one. I liked it. That time Greta Thunberg was on.
That one, I think we recorded. We were in the studio of a certain missionary society quite late at night.
We weren't even. It was before that. We were in a meeting room of a certain missionary society, recording some of it, and then later on went into the studio of a certain missionary society.
I had no idea. This is unhelpful for you.
That one was long.
It was
very long.
It was very long. What else we got?
Doug Van Pelt.
That's like Christian heavy metal stuff. That he was the editor of Heaven's Metal magazine.
The beautiful beginning of our friend of the show, Amy Aitken.
Oh, we love Amy Aitken.
And then we had Peter Laws / Halloween marathon across 3 episodes.
Famously, the episode where I am, I don't know which one it is, but
is this one of those?
I think it was one of the Halloween ones where I'm hopped up on antihistamine with a swollen face, and
Yes, we took that picture and put it on social media of your swollen face.
Okay, if you don't want to listen to all 3 episodes because you don't have time, then just remember hummus cauldrons and Laura's face.
That is important. Also, if you want to get more of Peter Laws, he has his own podcast and Patreon and all that kind of stuff that you can support him at. And he also does a thing called Creepy Cove Community Church, which is one of the coolest kind of Christian podcasts out there at the moment. So
Shane Claiborne.
I know that the Shane Claiborne one I recorded in what was essentially a harvester because Diana was reading.
There was one that had. I thought it was a lovely change of tone where you were outside. We could
that was in Cornwall. Maybe that was Claiborne. I don't know.
We know our own
Radio 4
podcast
sound
so
effects.
well.
Yeah, standing outside. I remember standing outside in this ridge and looking at the kind of St Agnes Heritage Coast and just like the breeze and the fields. It was good.
Then Christmas one, which I feel is probably just shambling joyful mess.
It was a shambling joyful mess. Did we not call that Jingle Balls?
No,
There's
there's
another one.
two. There's two.
There's mistletoe and beer.
Jingle Balls and there's mistletoe and beer.
It's just zero self-control.
Jingle
Zero
Balls
limits.
is
Just
the one
like-
that we recorded on Christmas Eve. So that was one where we all sent a snippet, and yours was like proper, as is the way,
of
properly
course.
like biblical and
Drabs's was
and
biblical
I was
AF.
like at a party. I think I burped right at the beginning
You
of the
did.
recording.
You did.
Keeping it classy, as always, on Big Christianity.
Does anyone remember which one of these I started with a bit where Laura didn't know she was being recorded, but she was singing?
Oh, no. It could be any of so many that could be.
Okay, keep going.
Graham Greene and David Jasper.
No,
David
I enjoyed
Jasper
that.
was so great. That was at the Graham Greene International Festival, all about literature and faith, and particularly Graham Greene was so good.
It says I've got 38 minutes left on that, so.
You dropped out real soon.
I've got like 38 minutes left on quite a few of these, Malky. So don't
man.
worry.
But this isn't like I don't have the excuse of hosting, you know.
Yeah, that's true. You just didn't like it. Sorry, David. David, a professor of literature and theology. Sorry, Malky doesn't like it.
I was probably busy with important things. Right, moving quickly on to Philip Yancey on suffering.
Yes, that was good. That was an old interview. Also, that was one that you guys didn't get to be in. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, sorry.
It's only half an hour long, so I imagine that we're not on that.
That sounds like one I recorded on holiday. That might be the one in Cornwall, actually.
Nice. Then January 2020, New Beer, New You, New Year's resolutions.
Nice.
Yeah, we
And Iran.
somebody said, yeah, and Iran, just because why not? Somebody said that we should ask you how you're doing with Ben's New Year's resolutions. So how have you been keeping up with them?
From 2020, those ones
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
Because and it carries over because of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. They cancelled on me, so you can...
Do you get an extension?
Yeah.
I've been spending more time with Ben's family. The C.S. Lewis episode.
Oh no.
That was
The infamous.
spectacular.
Didn't we who was that like random student?
There was
that
a
we made
random
friends
dude,
with?
we made friends with him.
But like the reason we made friends with him was because we were sat in the bar and like looked across the room at three just male students and were like, we think they're Christians, and like you went up to them and were like, hey, are you guys Christians? And like that one guy was.
Yeah, exactly,
And then-
because the reek of the Holy Spirit came off them.
Did you out him?
I did. He was probably trying to befriend them and flirt to convert or
We know.
whatever. Yeah.
Damn it.
Also, Laura got hammered on cider.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Not my friend.
wrecked.
I've not actually. I mean, this may come as a shock to you guys, but I haven't actually been able to listen to that episode the whole way through, and I've not listened to the end of it just because I'm afraid of what absolute garbage I spill.
No, we were all spilling garbage.
Yeah.
We went.
I remember enjoying it a lot, so I imagine it was not
It
good.
was a good night.
It was a great
good
night.
time. Do you know apparently they've sold the Eagle and Child. It's going to be a hotel or something.
What?
I know.
No longer a bar.
This is secondhand.
This is an
information.
outrage.
I blame Laura.
I blame Laura. Like, they just realised that women of a certain type were coming in, getting rowdy. Okay.
And then hitting a pretty sweet stride with Callie Lassen. And
That
then,
was amazing.
then
Was
Queer
that the one
Christianity
that
with Grace.
we recorded and then it didn't record?
Yeah.
That is so
It
good
was.
the first time
the
round.
first time
The
round.
first version was so
The
great.
second time we were drinking that awful brewdog.
Yes, we were. And we did it in your
It was
house.
at my house and you tried on my shirt.
And we were drinking some fruity brewdog, which was it was like
Oh, and you guys had
Satsuma.
brandy.
It was awful.
I gave you my shite brandy as
You
well.
Carry on. I want to get a drink.
Keep going.
And then, thankfully, mercifully, the pandemic came for the sake of Laura's health and sobriety, mainly.
Thank the
So
Lord.
you've got 2 episodes. Coronavirus, lockdown, beer, Christianity. That's just an hour.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference between these 2 episodes
Yeah, and then episode 21 is 19 recommendations.
That one was cute. Can you remember anything that you recommended, Drabs?
So is that each?
No, it was total. It was total.
I remember like recommending the 6 o'clock news.
You recommended
You
Helen
told-
Painter.
Yeah, and you told me about Helen
Princess
Painter was
Nokia.
great, by the way. Princess Nokia, who
Yeah.
I haven't stopped listening to.
She's amazing.
She's still amazing.
Yeah.
Any other recommendations
What
from
did
the
you
others that you
recommend?
adopted, John T?
It must have been Reply All. I was at a point where I was
Maybe.
super into Reply All and could not stop talking about Reply All.
Yeah, you recommended A Tale of Two Singles.
Ah, A Tale of Two Singles, who have been the shortlisted for the Christians Who Curse Sometimes Best Christian Media thing. Notably, Beer Christianity did not
nominated.
get
No.
shortlisted. So
I swear I nominated us like 100 times.
that's probably why we didn't make it in.
Also, they don't even swear!
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
Outrageous.
And I voted for them, and I voted for
Oh, yeah.
Sarah as the best podcast host, not myself. Said this to her, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even think of nominating myself. Didn't nominate me at all."
That's we did a couple of episodes later do an episode on singleness with Tale of Two Singles.
That's true, which is actually a great episode if you like
Fun.
talking about relationships and singleness and all that. So, 49 episodes. This is episode 50.
Woohoo!
What have we learned? What have we come to understand? What's the crux, you know? Because for me, the Beer Christianity thing, I was thinking about it, because I don't think we're a liberal podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're a conservative podcast. And I don't think we're a centrist podcast. I think it's a kind of being free to be real, but also smart. Like, not just... This is for me, like, I've been thinking about what is it that it offers, and like why does it matter? I think in the name it's there. It's like there is an irreverence in calling it Beer Christianity, because it is like we can all do with chilling out a little bit about the most righteous parts of whatever it is that we kind of find ourselves part of a tribe, but also still true to the fact that we follow Christ, that it's important, that it matters, that it makes a difference, and it should motivate us in our lives. I don't know. Maybe that's too serious. What's the vibes? What's the things that you've learned? Laura's laughing at me.
No, I feel like for me, I think it's how important it is to make the things we talk about accessible. I think that's been like the takeaway for me, because like I am, you know, a lot younger than. I am at a different stage of life than anyone else. As I've said before, this is, you know, we're living my backstory, right? My background right now. And like, I think I started this off kind of playing into that a bit too much. And I think now I've got used to the fact that I don't know as much as the people we're talking to. And like, that's okay. And it's okay to ask them, like, you know, getting things to clarify things, and just like, it's okay not to know, and it's okay to like find out more and do research. And like, I think, but like you said earlier, Drabs, like we've had some amazing guests on who have genuinely validated such important things in my faith. Like, I think Stephen Backhouse is a really good example of that, because like for me it was like a real turning point of like, even if I feel like I'm not as smart, or I haven't just like lived through that, I can still like do the research and ask intelligent questions and be that person, but also make it accessible for other people who feel like they also don't know the stuff. So we're all the same. We're all, if you're listening and you're feeling like you don't know what we're talking about, I often don't know what we're talking about, and that's okay. So
Nice.
yeah.
Mark.
Well, off the back of that, I often feel like I do know what I'm talking about. So it's good to be reminded by. No. But this false ego-driven stuff. This is what I'm saying. So it's good to hold things lightly and strip things back to a core of what what a faith can be built on. So with so many of the guests, I think Martin Akkad put it well, that there's so many Christianity is super religious. So there's so many things that seem to be fundamental to our Christianity that are actually just cultural. And a big part of that for me is the kind of intellectual stuff that's a lot of the time an ego trip of arguments that I may define a certain way of thinking, so it's good to hold that loosely as well, and for me find a core that is hard to define, I suppose, but that spiritual life, taking care of the inner world and knowing that God is difficult to define and beyond our imagination in a lot of ways, and beyond our articulation. That all feels very, very woolly and stuff. But yeah, I guess I'm just a lot less certain about stuff, but much more peaceful and content with who I am and who God is and what life's about. Don't get me to define what that means.
Trebs.
Alright, so we sometimes talked about, or a couple of times talked ourselves about being post-evangelical, and I think we were post-evangelical because we wanted to piss off the evangelicals, and then we were post-evangelical because we wanted to piss off the post-evangelicals.
I do find them annoying.
They are annoying!
All of them are annoying.
A polite way of saying piss off is challenge.
Yeah.
But I think in doing so we were actually challenging ourselves, and we were at times challenging younger versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And at times challenging our actual selves. And I think there's something in that, isn't there, of if what the core of it is about is trying to challenge one's position, and you do that by listening to perspectives, I guess particularly of Christians from other walks of life or through other stages of life. And that's been, I think there's been something about that's been at the core, as well as because the theme has been there has been a theme of listening to other voices who come from a different perspective, because the classic criticism, I guess, of the church is it becomes its own echo chamber, and so we've sought to be anti-echo chamber in kind of everything we've done, and that's reflecting the guests we have, and it's just been a great ride, like listening to all these different voices and being challenged to it all. So yeah.
Also, it's Pride Month. Did you intentionally leave out queer Christianity?
We mentioned.
I don't think we did. I don't think we did. I've just realised that Malky's he's committed a hate crime.
Can you believe
Someone spoke over me. I think I fudged Callie Lassen and queer Christianity together, and then we started talking about Callie.
Well, anyway, so sorry. Sorry. Well, let's just stop and record again.
Start again. We need to add it back into the order.
Episode 1.
No, but Travis, I think you are actually right. Like that's I think challenging ourselves, and we've made jokes about loving that we're having our own thoughts confirmed, but I think what that is having some intuitions you've had articulated by people who are smarter than you, and and then at the same time having people challenge your thinking and not adopting a party line, whether it's liberal Christianity or conservative Christianity, because I'm sure that you could listen to a lot of our episodes and go, I don't know, man, you guys are in an echo chamber, but I don't actually think we are. I think when you consider the number, I'm part of a lot of Christian podcast forums and Christian podcast groups on social media, and honestly, there are very few people who are doing anything even remotely similar to ours, because all the teaching is exactly what you would expect. All the chat is exactly what you'd expect. It's a very specific, conservative, down the line thing, or it is we hate those guys. And there's some great podcasts out there who are doing something very different and doing really great stuff as well. You know, Tale of Two Singles, who are not particularly walking either line. You've got the liturgists who are really great with it's that Gungor fellow.
Yeah, Michael.
Science Mike.
Mike, and there's a few Christian communist podcasts who are apparently doing really good stuff, and I hear good things about and all that kind of thing. So, you know, I don't know. I think talking about this in a real way, coming from, yes, a generally progressive / left-wing perspective, but not necessarily trying desperately to, you know, trot out the shibboleths, I think I think that's an important space to kind of occupy, not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but more just, I don't ever want to stop doing that, you know?
I think there's something really helpful when I think particularly when you first go on that journey of questioning belief and moving into the post-evangelical world, not to put labels on it, where you feel isolated and you feel like you've abandoned yourself. It's not like you've been abandoned, but you've abandoned yourself. And so anytime you experience community in any sense in that phase, it's really, really helpful. And I really hope that we've created something of community there. Yeah. But the danger is that communities that are created around there become a little bit antithesis, don't they?
Yeah, and it's out-group derogation is the way that you build.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what we've tried to do is to not let it become defined by what it's not.
Yeah.
And what the consequence of that means that some people come into this podcast for a little while and then drop out.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's if this is helpful for a phase. Like I know, like even since I stopped being on the show when Malky came on, my wife started listening to this. And it's gone through this.
Wow.
And it's gone through this whole phase and done a load of like outside reading and stuff, and I think really gained a lot through it. And I really, I guess my hope for it is that actually people almost will drop into it for a time or a season. And maybe jump out of it and like and it'll be part of their story. That'd be cool.
You know what I also dig? I was looking at the stats the other day, and like the number of you've got 35 listeners in India, and I want to know who those people are, and like what are you getting out of this? Like, are you listening because you're a believer? Are you listening because you're interested? Are you listening because it's like, fuck, I hate Christians, it's so annoying? Like I'd be interested to hear some of those perspectives as well, because we have listeners in parts of the world where we definitely don't know anyone, and I find that kind of cool as well. Like just to although also kind of terrifying, because you're just like just want to be clear, like hate parts of the church, obviously it's but also Jesus, he's great and awesome.
He's
and
a good one.
Yeah, like.
Some might say the good one.
Some might say that.
Why do you call me good? Bring the Bible in.
Exactly. It's a little bit of some fist bumps between Malky and Drabs. That's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, keep going, Malky.
Nice one. Right, but that jumped out a couple. So we had Sam Hales, magazine editor.
Sam Hales, who is the, I feel like on his media I have been the dialer lefty, and he was our dialer conservative. And it was annoyingly respectful and liking each other and just enjoying his company and his views on things. It was actually rather nice.
Yeah, one day we need to get a scumbag righty on here so we can take down that strong man.
Yeah. To be fair, like really set him up to knock him down.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Sam's too nice. So yeah, you can read his magazine. It's called Premier Christianity,
and it looks all right.
It's designed by what I believe is a total meth head.
Episode 23, Holly-Ann Peterson.
Holly-Ann, one of the best human beings on the planet.
Delightful.
So great. Extinction Rebellion, all of that.
Jazz.
Then you've got your singles with Tales or whatever. And
I mean, I have described one of them as that, but
I could not possibly describe this one.
Mario Russo. science, faith.
love Mario
great.
Russo. What a great guy.
Just for
Southern
the
Baptist.
unexpectedness of being told we were getting a Southern Baptist on and being like, we were arming ourselves ready. And then he was delightful.
He's so lovely. Mario, one of the nicest people and one of our most loyal, like, actually responding to our shit on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, Mario, we love you.
Yeah.
Check out Mario Russo on BioLogos.
And then another raging conservative, old Brian McLaren.
He's one of a tradition of guests on Beer Christianity who, when being interviewed, did not know they were going to be guests on Beer Christianity because Beer Christianity did not exist when I interviewed them and I did not ask their permission. The only one I did ask permission to, the Welby, and it took a
Mistake.
fucking year for them to give us permission. That was an error. Just should have published it. And Shane Claiborne, and I was like, hey, I got this old one because, like him. And he was just like, yeah, man, go wild. That was it. Like,
That's a very Shane response.
so Shane, like, you can't imagine him going, I'm sorry, but copyright.
Yes.
Also, just looking at the description of the Brian McLaren episode, that is the episode where you've got friend of the podcast, Alex Baker, taking photos very loudly in the background of that interview.
Also, apologies to Alex Baker because he did record an intro to Justin Welby at the time that I asked them if I could publish it. And we did an entire episode, just me and him, talking about various issues that had come up in it. And it was just so unbelievably out of date by the time we could publish. We re-recorded. So Alex will one day be... He has been on the podcast, though, since then.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he...
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the McLaren episode.
That's rude. Was he on the McLaren
He was on the
episode?
McLaren episode. You gave him like 10 minutes notice. He hadn't even listened to the interview. He had nothing. It felt so bad. He was just like trying to pretend like he heard the interview.
Sorry, Alex.
Sorry, Alex, I love you.
Blessing of plurality.
Simon Cross. We were talking about Simon Cross the other day, actually.
Yeah, the other night. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's like... It's not often that I feel like a raging conservative on this show, but next to Simon Cross, I felt like I was the voice of all things right-wing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was literally quoting Jesus at him, saying, what do you say?
There's nothing like an actual liberal to properly put you in the place of a conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have been led astray if I was hosting on that one. And then next, interestingly, because we've just been talking about it's been a year since George Floyd. So race with
Pearl
One of my
Mashabane.
favourite episodes I think we've done ever.
It is, and actually one of the ones that I've most shared.
Yeah.
I know two people who, based on listening to that one, two white women. Where the white women at? Blazing Saddles references.
Wow.
I know where two white women are. They are regularly meeting together to discuss how they can be better allies to people of colour because they listen to Pearl.
Aww.
That was the thing that motivated them to do that. So
Amazing.
that's pretty cool.
Nice. And then the aforementioned Helen Painter.
Genocide
in the Bible.
Helen Painter, the official theologian of Beer Christianity.
Yeah, running around her house trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. Like an absolute champ.
Absolute
Avoid her teenagers, I think.
Avoid her teenagers, and also at the same time, in some episodes, tell me to go and seek medical help and having fallen down the stairs.
So this one, I think I was going to use an inappropriate turn of phrase, but this is the one with drabs on it, right?
What inappropriate turn of phrase?
Well, that Helen Painter straddles me in drabs.
Wow.
Episodes.
That is inappropriate. Why would you say that?
Because she's on twice in quick succession, and it's, either side of the changing of the guard. So I think it's entirely a logical thing to say.
Wow. It's going to be a chapter in another book on biblical violence. I think it's gonna be. That's the thing. Okay, yeah.
So I want to wait.
This is not as entertaining for the listener as it is for you.
Me trying to read words. Well, it says Christians. I'm blaming the bad copywriting. Christians equal Republicans.
How is that complicated? How is that difficult to read?
Well,
this is the simplest title we've ever had.
Like Christian Republican, but she was a Democrat, right?
Yeah, but is Christians equal Republicans? ? Anyway, it's Linda Seeger.
That's the one.
She wrote the book Jesus Rode a Donkey, and I believe I gave her a hard time about Kamala Harris and fucking Joe Biden.
Understandable.
Yeah, because honestly, and was I wrong, listeners? Was I wrong? Or have these motherfuckers who have both houses done nothing because centrists do not want any change? Yeah, I was.
You are not incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they rejoined Paris Accord.
Oh, fucking whatever. They're not going to change
They're
anything.
not going to ban TikTok.
That's true. Hey, they're not actual Nazis, so they are better than the previous incumbent, but also, oh my goodness, the Democratic Party.
And they know how to put their trousers on forwards.
What?
Did you not see the pictures of Donald Trump where they thought he'd put his trousers backwards recently?
That's amazing. That actually makes me feel a little bit bad. Just like, wow. But if there was an old man who you would want to mock for his failing faculties, it would be him.
Yeah, to be fair.
It would be fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of old men with failing faculties, episode 31 is Joe Biden.
What?
Joe Biden, death, WAP, and taxes.
Okay. We didn't actually interview Joe Biden. I was like, did I forget?
How drunk was I?
Okay, the Chomsky interview. Did I ever say this on the thing? When I interviewed him, I got the times wrong, unsurprisingly, and his aide was like, I'm sorry, call back in an hour. At that point, I owned a hot tub, and so I got straight into the hot tub.
Remember those days.
Exactly. Started drinking.
I'm pretty sure you messaged me and said, hey dude, I've got an hour, want a hot tub?
It was that kind of time. And definitely had a few beers, so interviewed Chomsky, drunk, half naked, and dripping wet. That was... As one should. I believe that's actually in his rider, to be fair, so it's not entirely my fault.
So, and that episode obviously was a detailed dissection of WAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe Drabs' last episode. I will remember
the arms of the angels.
And then this is obviously a significant marker because you've got Harry and bloody Chris on again.
The only vaguely high-profile guests that we can get on the podcast without any trouble.
Be your birthday.
Oh,
So
really?
I guess it's a year, which is this podcast is mostly milestones.
It is. We all like the Catholics in that way. Like every day is a holy day. You know,
yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah, that's September 2020. Greenbelt and Harry and Chris. But then, did Greenbelt happen?
Mm-mm.
It did not.
No, sir.
Fair enough.
At least it's happened this...
I looked at going to the camping thing, but I don't know. It's like a bit spinny.
Yeah. We could, as I said, we could do that for free in your garden. Or, in fact, in my garden.
Or in our bedrooms.
Or in our houses.
Okay, you need to not look her in the eye when you say that. That's not okay. Or in our bedroom.
Oh.
Hello!
Hey! Drabs back in business.
Oh, I can't believe I've missed the sexual tension of this podcast. Greenbelt, a great festival. You should go to it. If you've never heard of it, you really should. And they are doing a camping thing for people who are like, hey, do you want to come to Greenbelt? Because you don't give a shit about the content, but you just want to hang out with the people. Come this year, which honestly, solely tempted. So, yeah.
And then Helen Pinto's back. And this time
Genocide.
violence to Jonty.
Oh, yeah.
Self-inflicted.
This is because when I fell down the stairs. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was this your first episode?
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
What number is that?
33.
Wow.
33.
How old are you?
35.
How old was Jesus when he died, though?
33.
35?
So...
Wait a minute, the calendar's off by 4 years, isn't it?
What?
So does that mean?
Oh, that's why
It was
4 AD is
30.
called 4 AD.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What?
Mm. Yeah. Like, you know, we start at like 0.
Yeah.
Year 0. They reckon Jesus was actually born like year 4.
Because of the stars and that.
Because of the stars. No, the lights have gone off. Jesus is displeased.
The calendar is right, motherfuckers.
So then, yes. So we sorted out that. We've sorted out all the biblical violence. That's
Sorted, done.
Done.
And then we get old Justin Welby,
Finally.
and that's when coronavirus was over. We're back in a pub.
Oh yeah.
In Milton Keynes,
End of
talking about your
September.
robots.
We're
Yeah.
back in a pub. Your second episode.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And then more Extinction Rebellion.
Classic.
This was
Laura going to a protest.
Oh yeah. Oh, on the ground reporting.
Mhm.
and then I enjoyed this one, old Stephen Backhouse,
Oh.
Yeah.
aka man's name.
Yeah.
David Brenda.
Jonathan Friedland.
Yeah. It's patriotism.
Yeah.
Sin. So
I
yes,
liked.
patriotism,
I liked
nationalism
Stephen
and all.
Backhouse. Like, oh,
We vibed with him. And
very much so.
I that crystallized so much for me.
Yeah.
In terms of the stuff that I'd kind of been thinking about and then going like, yeah. And the number of conversations I've had since then and going like, yeah, but you know that patriotism is not right. You know that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
My favourite people we interview are the people who, all the stuff you thought in the back of your head, like, I think I'm right about this, and then someone comes in and tells you, oh, you're right about all those things.
yes, I love
those
guys.
when I am confirmed in my rightness. That is what this podcast is all about, by the way.
Also, his own podcast, 10 Theology, is kind of cool.
Is it? I've never
Yes, I've
actually
listened
listened to it.
to it. It's good.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one in this room who hasn't listened to it.
Unbelievable.
Shame.
Unlike our next guest, Justin Brierley, whom's book? Is that a
No,
phrase?
no, not in any way.
Cover to cover.
I read his book.
You did.
I did after we spoke to him.
Naturally.
I read it.
That ain't nothing.
It wasn't
Also-
published when you spoke to him, was it?
Yeah, his other book.
Was it?
His
Yeah.
first
Oh,
book
the
was
other one.
published.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's writing.
Also,
another one.
he's an incredibly lovely man.
He was lovely. Everyone we've had on the podcast has been lovely.
What I loved about that is, like, I loved your piece on that, Malky, when you were talking about your journey with apologetics and how it used to give you all the answers and then it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, very much. That sums it up. Good stuff. Next one. A list of things we love.
We couldn't find a milestone, but we thought we'd just,
Another recommendations.
still pretty good.
If you want the full list, you have to listen to episode 38.
Episode 38. Do not. It's special, like a 38.
And I think the US election
Yes.
had just happened.
Yeah, I think so.
Imagine you pissed on that parade.
Yes.
Yep. Pissed like a powerful horse.
And this is
Another milestone.
no, it's Thanksgiving 2020.
That's a milestone.
Milestone.
Yeah, sure.
That's
and
fine.
this is what started the deluge of voice notes that we've been receiving. In the title, drop us a voice note.
Ah, speak
The speak pipe, the birth
Oh.
of speak pipe.
Just relentless.
So
Shut
funny.
up, pipe, more like. Give us a break.
Okay, Malky, we're getting to the end of this list, which is good because listeners, if you want to know whether you should stick with it, we're not going to be talking about this only for the rest of the podcast. Also, if this is your first time listening, please write to us at beerchristianity@yahoo.com. You can send us a voicemail on SpeakPipe. You're not going to fucking do that.
Also, if this is your first episode listening to this, maybe listen to another episode.
Also, if it's your first episode and you've made it this far, like they're not all self-indulgent drivel. They significant proportions are self-indulgent drivel, but it's not.
As
it's
we've
not.
discovered.
Yeah. And you can follow us on all the various places. We also have a newsletter that I mostly write and I sometimes get other people to write for, but I haven't done for a while. Sorry. I've been
Yeah, I haven't seen that in my
distracted.
inbox.
I was sad. I was sad and then I wasn't sad. I was lazy and distracted, and I've been working on a novel, and it's been taking quite a lot of focus.
Could you write a newsletter? You know how you wrote the newsletter about being sad?
Yeah.
Could you write a similar one, but
About being lazy. Oh my word! People were so kind when you say that you've been sad. They're so nice. I wonder if they're going to be as nice if you're like sometimes can't be asked. It's a real struggle. Okay, Malky, whiz through the end.
On episode 40, we talked mental health. college
topical.
and
I
sports.
like that one. Lacrosse player, right?
Yeah. She's so nice, Emily. Queen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
That was very cool. And then Tom Wright featured on the next one, talking annihilationism.
Unbeknownst to Tom Wright.
Surprise!
You're a star.
Yeah, judgment and the afterlife, annihilationism.
And
does
I
hell
struggled
exist.
to say words.
Mm.
Not going to try and say it, because I won't be able to. So if you want to hear me struggle, listen to episode 41.
Or the one in the Eagle and Child.
And then we're, getting into some proper theology. The old Christus Victor, penal substitution chat.
Nice.
And the way we've written it, then it looks like it's Helen Painter versus Tom Wright.
Yeah.
But they both contribute.
The
yeah.
eternal conflict.
Yeah.
The war of cultures.
Loser gets eternal conscious.
No, but that was very cool, wasn't it? Like, we asked her for a brief bit of chat. Yeah. And then Amy's back, talking about the US Capitol attack and whether or not churches should kick off about being closed for COVID.
Spoiler. No.
Absolutely not. Although, that's coming up in an issue of Christianity coming out soon. I've written a feature which you should get and just write to them and say nice things about me, because bitches, they're going to say some mean things about me. So get the thing, write letters to Premier Christianity saying, yes, Christians should break the law. And one of the examples that has been put into kind of balance my very left-wing things has been churches not opening, which is in fact Christians breaking the law, which I think the action itself is fine even if the reasons are stupid.
Yeah, some guy in Canada got arrested, didn't he?
Oh, really?
There was I know because somebody in my church WhatsApp group asked us to pray for the persecuted church in Canada.
Wow.
But he kept on opening his church, so got arrested. Which, fair.
You're endangering lives, it seems,
Anyway.
So, in episode 44, within 55 minutes, we put to bed the whole Israel-Palestine issue. With Ilan
Was that
Pappé.
Ilan Pappé? That was among the very best.
Oh, that dude,
next
such
level.
a ledge.
Amazing.
So
So that's
great.
another one that we need to get back
Yes.
and carry on the series.
Yeah, all right, the judgment in your face. We were going to carry on the series, but we just...
Ben did the snigger.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, well, definitely, that was his
We
real
know that
thing.
sounds for you got sad, John. Too.
I did get sad.
Okay.
Yeah, this is called Alcohol Freestyling, a meander through the minds of Bare Christianity hosts and listeners.
That means even after editing it, I couldn't work out any theme that ran through the entire thing.
Point.
Literally no focus whatsoever.
I mean, it's not filler, obviously.
No, I think it was
great
actually a really fun episode.
Yeah, it was listener contribution.
That's true.
Yeah, so all good stuff.
Yeah, probably a terrible title in retrospect.
Yeah.
And another guest who's probably surprised to appear on the show, Richard Rohr.
Yay!
And then this was a particularly sad one for Drabs to miss. Actual football, European Super
Very
League,
good.
Did feel for
and
you.
American sports.
Yeah, we even spoke about American football.
Did you talk? I missed that
We
episode.
spoke American football.
Did you talk about how socialist it is?
Jamie Cuttridge is on it. It's brilliant.
Jamie
Check it out.
It's really good. And we talked about the socialism of it because this blew my mind. I had no idea.
It's incredible. I've been so good on that episode. I've got so much to say.
We'll do another one. Don't worry. It's fine. Yeah.
Did I tell you I started playing American football?
Oh, that's so cool.
And now we're getting very recent. Our episode with Ryan Hood.
Love those guys.
Delight.
And then Martin Akkad.
Oh,
I think it's pronounced Martin.
what?
Oh, man.
Martin.
Martin. Okay. Anyway, basically, we just wanted to say also thanks to you for listening, for however long you've been listening, and for whatever reasons you've been listening. It's been very cool to do this, and to get to speak to really interesting people and to share some perspectives and to keep you company, which I think a lot of people have said is like, oh, I just like listening to this because it keeps you company. We've got Gordon in Canada who says he walks the dogs while listening to us. Gordon, hey, you're cool. And yeah, anyway, a whole bunch of other people who are doing this. So I asked Harry and Chris this question. I thought their answer was entirely inadequate. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is the point of the Christian life? What is the center? What is the purpose? I'm going to give you just a few seconds to think about it, but I think that's all you'll need because it's not a big question. And who am I going to ask first? It'll be the person who makes eye contact with me. Laura!
I mean, this is a super lame cop-out answer, for that I apologise, but genuinely I think the purpose of the Christian life is to love, and I think, yeah, like, you know, it's really hard, actually, a lot of the time, like, choosing between a loving action and a selfish action is really hard, but I think that's the point. I think that's making that choice every day between being selfish and being loving. I think that's the point. Ben's just walked out.
Yeah, Ben has just walked out. He's like, fuck this question. It's fine. We'll have some, just sit down. We'll just finish recording and then we'll get another drink. It's okay.
It's okay, guys.
Everything is fine. Malky.
What's the wording of the question again? The answer is clearly as stated in the Westminster Confession of Faith to man's chief end
Man
is
or woman.
to
And non-binary peoples.
according to the Westminster Confession of Faith man's chief end is to glorify God and enjoy him forever.
Okay.
I think
Enjoy him forever.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my training kicking in. What's the purpose? I'm looking for the word to hang on.
point-
But what's the point?
Point and the
Prosecco.
purpose of the Christian
Of
life.
non-alcoholic Prosecco. The purpose. Well, right. I think it makes me wonder why is there something rather than nothing, right? Why is there creation at all? And I think that's because of relationship. I think there's something relational about the Godhead, as it were, you know, God in three persons, and the reason for creating life is about relating and relationship. So I think that's our most truest expression to be in relationship and to live fully. To connect with God and to love people from that connection and just be. So yeah, it's not the it's moving away from accept Jesus as your Lord and Saviour and get out of hell and go to heaven, which is what I would have find it back in the olden days. So I think, can I leave it there? Does that count?
Yeah, that does indeed count. I just want to point out that you got quieter and quieter as you said that. You did get closer to the mic, so I think that's...
It all balances out, yeah.
I think it's good. That's a good answer. Travis.
Yeah, I love Matthew's thing about talking about his what he grew up on in terms of understanding what the Christian faith is and how he understands it now. And sometimes you grow up on that understanding of God loves you, isn't it? The risk is it stops there, because that is so true, and that is the core of it. That our identity comes first and foremost from knowing that we're a child of God, and you know, he rejoices over us with singing, you know, in Zephaniah. And the almost the second half of that is the overflow of that and the spilling out of that into the world, and our calling to be citizens of the kingdom of heaven who live and work both in worship of God, but the expression of that is how we make the world a more just, fair, equitable place for everyone else. And so that's my understanding of the Christian walk. I guess it's my hope of what this podcast tries to achieve is both reminding people of how much they are created in the image of God and loved by God and rejoiced by God and rejoiced over a song by God, but also once you've accepted that not even once you've accepted that, but the overflow of that and the expression of that is understanding the implications for how we treat our neighbour.
Nice. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I think this is why I'm asking so many people the question. Like, there's Laura's looking at me with like, are you sad again?
No, it's looking at you with like, fucking cop out.
Okay, no, I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to say, I have believed that the most important thing is to tell people about Jesus, to give them the security of an eternal life with him. I'm not sure I believe in hell anymore, or that he would exclude anybody from that, which does release some impetus.
I'm not sure that God would exclude anyone from hell.
Yeah. Oh. That's right. What I'm saying is this podcast really brought me to the point of believing that everyone is going to hell.
All of you.
Particularly
everyone
you.
Listening.
If you're listening right now.
Which is why I don't listen to the podcast.
It's horrible, guys. It's horrible. No, I don't believe that necessarily that anybody goes to hell anymore. So then the impetus to share Christ becomes entirely focused on what he adds to this life, except this life is so much suffering, and I do believe in an interventionist God, unlike Nick Cave, and believe that he does intervene and he does help us, and I've experienced that for myself. But whenever I think beyond myself to the people who I know to be suffering in this world, I find it really hard to think of it in those terms. And I don't know if I can think of it in terms of purpose except to be as good as you possibly can within the bounds of your own suffering and struggle. Can you still be kind? Can you still be good? Can you still care about things beyond yourself? In the name of the crucified God who suffers with you, who actually allows himself to be killed, tortured, and says, forgive them because they don't understand what they're doing. And that for me is so profound. Like that is Christ, his whole life is spent teaching us to go counter to our natural desires to hate and kill and fight our enemies and to only give good things to people who deserve it and all of that. And he teaches us an alternative way that gives good things to people who don't deserve it, good things to bad people, recognizing that we are bad people, and telling us that there is a hope even for and in the suffering. And I don't think everything happens for a reason, and I don't think that means that everything is meaningless. I think even so, God is good and God loves us and he wants us to be good and loving. Yeah, I don't know. But also take it easy because things can get pretty fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where I found myself. Is that a cop-out, Laura? Or is it something you do?
How do you like that?
Boom! I'm also a big fan of the fact that Drabs kind of ended that speech by just waving his beer glass down.
So thirsty.
Please!
This is all lovely, but could I have a drink? Well, with that, I think we should say goodbye. Thank you so much for listening. This has been a long one, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening with us. If you haven't heard all the episodes, why don't you drop in and listen to one at random and see if it speaks to you. And do get in touch with us. Tell us if there's anything you'd like to hear from us. We're on Twitter at BeerXianity. You can email us at beerchristianity@yahoo.com. You can leave us a voice note on SpeakPipe. And you can find all of our deets on beerchristianity.libsyn.com, Libsyn. Get in touch. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.